So in life, you need to help other people achieve their dreams, and you'll achieve their dreams. And you have to have the knowledge that you don't have to, you get to. You get to wake up every single day and take in a deep breath. You get to wake up every single day and go hug somebody. You get to wake up every single day and go do service for somebody. You get to wake up every single day and make a difference in this world. That's a choice that you get to make every single day. You get to choose how you react to the words that people say to you. You get to choose how you react to the things that people do to you. If you're winning in life, it's your fault. If you're losing in life, it's your fault. But just remember, you get to wake up every single day and you get to be part of this journey. You get to be part of the human race. You get to have experiences. You get to love. You get to be you. And that's enough.
Hello, Pirates. We are so glad to have you all join for today's webinar with James Lawrence. My name's Erika, but you can call me a curious moonshot pirate and a young entrepreneur.
Hi, everybody. My name is Victor. I come from Romania, but I'm based in Austria right now. And I'm extremely passionate about sports and music and just personal growth. And today I will co-host this talk with Erika.
Now let's move on to you, James. I hope you feel great. James Lawrence, a triathlon athlete and leader, or we can also call him the Iron Cowboy. Besides breaking several Guinness World Records, he faced an insane challenge, running 100 Ironman distance triathlons in 100 days. And he succeeded. James, it's a pleasure to talk to you today. Why don't you introduce yourself as well?
Awesome. Hello, Erika. Hello, Victor. Hello, all of the Moonshot Pirates. I'm sorry about my voice. I have a little bit of a cold today, but I'm still super excited and happy to be here. I am originally from Canada, Calgary, Alberta, and I moved to the United States over 21 years ago, 22 years ago, and I got so lucky. I got to meet my wife, Sunny Joe. We call her Sunny Joe Mama because we've got 5 kids together. I've got 4 teenage girls and a son, ranging from ages 12 to 19. So just happy to be here and excited to have this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, James. This was an amazing introduction. So first question ahead. I'm so curious about the Iron Cowboy. Who came up with this nickname?
Yeah, it wasn't me. It's actually funny because I'm allergic to horses and hay, and so that's the opposite of a cowboy. But I had those 5 little kids when I started racing, and it was so fun to have them out there. But Ironman racing is a terrible spectator sport, and it's 140 miles long. It's all over the place, and so when I did see my kids, I wanted to make sure that we had that good energy exchange. And so I started to wear a cowboy hat while I was running the marathon. And that way they could see me coming. I could see them coming. We do the high five. They'd hold their signs. So that's where the name came from.
I love the story. It's so funny. Well, you mentioned your family several times already. I guess they played an important role in your whole athlete journey. Do you want to talk more about them?
Yeah. Oh man, they're amazing. I've got, like I said, 4 teenage girls. So we've got Lucy, Lily, Daisy, Dolly, and then my son Quinn, and of course my wife Sunny. And it's just been amazing to have them on the entire journey. And we started racing when they were just little babies, and so they don't know any different. One of the big questions I get though is, do any of your kids race? And the answer is no. None of them race. My teenage girls are interested in dances and boys and having fun and going to parties and just being kids. And I think that's what kids should do, is have fun. And my son, he just started to get into basketball, and he plays a game called lacrosse. It's with a stick and a rubber ball. But yeah, they've been a huge part of my journey. I think we can draw inspiration from kids. I think you guys are unbelievable. I think we can learn so much from you guys. I know you're trying to learn from me, but there's so much we can learn from the way you guys do things. And I'm getting a little bit older, and so I'm 46, So I know that seems like a senior citizen to you guys, but man, it's just it's so fun to have kids, and especially to start to have older kids now. But yeah, they've been a huge part of my journey.
Yeah, you said that all your kids do something else. You also started off doing wrestling, am I right? In high school.
Yeah, I grew up a wrestler. I wrestled for about 7 years, and I believe it's the foundation of my mental toughness.
Okay, and how did you exactly get into endurance sports leading up to that?
Yeah, this is a fun story. So I was newly married, and I was we had just had two kids. I was going to the gym because I like to do that from my wrestling days, and my wife would come to the gym with me, and she was like, "Oh, hey, here in our town, we do on Thanksgiving in November we do what's called a 4 mile fun run." And I was like, people run for fun? Like I've never heard of that before. That seems so weird to me. And she was like, yeah, let's go do this 4 mile fun run. And I was like, okay, we'll go do that. And ended up doing the fun run, and I hated it. It was terrible. I was like super slow. I was winded. I couldn't breathe. My legs hurt. And I went home that night, and my wife said, you know what? I'm gonna make you a better man. I'm gonna sign you up for the Salt Lake City Marathon. And I was like, a marathon? She's like, yeah, it's 26 miles. Figure it out. And I was like, okay. And so I just started to figure out how to run. And then I was watching TV, and I saw triathlon, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. And I learned how to swim. I went and bought a bike. And so I started endurance racing a lot later. I was already married, had a couple kids, but just fell in love with it. And then really gravitated to the bike. And I was watching the Tour de France and all these amazing bike races. And so that's kind of how I got started.
That's impressive. I actually didn't even expect that. I thought you just started running someday, but that it was your wife who actually introduced you to this kind of sport. This is incredible. But I'm just wondering, since it was her idea first, when was the point when you kind of realized this is something that you'd like to kind of keep doing? And what was the point where you realized you really like running?
Yeah, I still don't like running. Um, yeah, I still don't like running, but sometimes this is a good lesson. Sometimes we have to do things in life that we don't love doing to enjoy the parts of life that we love doing. And I love winning. I love breaking records. I love riding my bike. I love competing. And so running is just a small part of our race. But she races too. And I realized that I started to really enjoy it. And it wasn't so much the sport, it was the community. I loved the people. I loved the weekend events. I loved meeting new people, and I loved just all of that. And my wife races too, and so it was something that we could do together. And then it's kind of fun to break world records, and so that was kind of the moment where I was like, oh, this is fun. But I say fun, and if you go look at any of my videos that are online, I'm suffering quite a bit, just because of the unique challenges. But like outside of like the 50 and the 100, normal racing is a ton of fun. But it's the training. I love the training. I love the people. I love getting outside. I think it's so healthy for our minds and our bodies to get outside and just enjoy the beautiful nature that God gave us.
So Nevena is asking, what has running or the Ironman taught you?
It's taught me that you can't wait to the last minute to prepare for something. And the secret to success is doing a lot of little things consistently over a long period of time. And that's how you gain growth. And if I'm looking around social media today and the younger generation, it's like, I want it right now, and I don't want to do the work. And that's a terrible way to think. And that's the fastest way that you'll fail in life. And it's about being patient and showing up every single day, learning, gaining knowledge. Because here's what's fascinating. Like when I first started racing, I was doing really short races. And then I found the Ironman, and I was like, ooh, I just want to do one. I just want to do one. That would be so hard. That would be so amazing. But then I did one, and I was like, ooh, I could maybe do two. Right. And then you start to build momentum and success. Like when I first started, no way, like zero chance I was going to do 100 Ironmans. Like I couldn't even think of that. That's crazy. That's stupid. And so, but as you continue to show up and as you continue to get better, all of a sudden, when you're standing on the top of one mountain, a new mountain comes into view, one you couldn't even see before, right? And so that changes the way you think.
Yeah, wow. I just remembered something because you said the 100 Ironman distance triathlons. I heard somewhere that you actually ran 101 Ironman distance triathlons. So
Yeah. So the original goal was to do 100 in a row. And I don't know, do we need to maybe explain really quick what an Ironman is?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, that might be helpful. So first, a triathlon is anything swim, bike, or run, right? And then an Ironman is like the longest of the distances. And so it's what is it? You guys do kilometers. So it's a 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike, and then a 42 kilometer run. And so it's a total of 220 kilometers in one day. And so that gets super crazy. So we set out the goal to do 100. And so that's 14,000 plus miles. And right when we were at the end of that journey, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to be talking to people around the world and sharing our story. And we're going to be writing a book and we're going to be filming a documentary. And if there's any leaders that are in this group right now, like young individuals that want to become leaders, you have to set the ultimate example. You have to lead from the front. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to get asked the question, could have I done one more? Right. And the answer is, yeah, I could do one more, but they would say, but you didn't do it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do one more, not because I have to, but because I'm a leader and I lead from the front. And I wanted to set the ultimate example for my kids that says, look, guys, when you're broken, when you're exhausted, when you're tired, when you think you're alone, when you think nobody cares, nobody's watching, it's okay. You can get up and do one more. And I don't know how many times you're going to have to do one more until you like turn the corner, grow, have that experience. But I know you can do one more.
How do you kind of prepare your mind to be so tough about it that you go through all this pain and everything and just don't stop?
Yeah, great question. The only way to become more mentally tough is through experiences. And there's so much opportunity in today's day and age. There's a lot of free things. There's a lot of great resources. There's a lot of groups like this that we get to participate in. There's a lot of leaders that we get to learn from. And the only way to gain knowledge, to grow as people, is to go out and have experiences. You have to take action. Everybody that's going to be listening to this, and you, Victor, and you, Erika, and me, they're like, oh, I feel something. But now you have to take that feeling and you have to go do something. And it's only through doing something that we learn. It's interesting because I love sport. And I know a lot of you do too. And I know Victor does. And the thing is like, I love wrestling, but I didn't know I loved wrestling until I tried wrestling. And I love to play golf. I didn't know I loved to play golf until I played golf. I love to do triathlon. I didn't know I loved to do triathlon until I did triathlon. And so everybody's like sitting at home waiting to have an experience come to them. And they're like, oh, how do I find my passion? And they're like, I'm going to sit here till I figure out what my passion is. And I'm like, you're never going to find your passion. You have to go out and do something and talk to people. I know it's crazy, but you got to talk to people and you got to interact with people and you got to do things and have experiences. That's the only way that you're going to become more mentally tough. That's the only way to build that mental toughness muscle, because we start out small, right? We start out small and doing things. I didn't start out doing an Ironman. I started doing a sprint triathlon, very, very short, in a pool. Didn't even have I borrowed a bike. I was learning how to swim, and nobody would have looked at that guy right there and said that's the guy that's going to go break some world records, right? Because I was a total disaster, but that was my beginning. And that's where I started. And I kept showing up and learning until I could do the bigger ones. And so you have to start small and you have to create momentum for yourself. that's how you gain the knowledge, is through experience, and that's how you become more mentally tough.
We have another question from the chat, from Tim Hansen actually. He says, if I remember correctly, you got injured on the journey of 100 Ironman. How did you deal with that? What made you keep going? Weren't you afraid of long-term consequences?
Yeah, great question. Fear is going to stop you from doing anything. And what I knew is that I had an unbelievable team around me, that I had assembled, that would be able to help me navigate that, and that was monitoring me and making those great decisions for me. And pain is just pain. And I knew that the 100 was going to finish on a specific time, a specific date, like it was going to be over, and then I could go on and repair myself. So when in training, I'm very smart with my training, and I have, again, that team around me. And if I start to feel something, I address it. And it's just like in life, like if we have a feeling or an emotion or stress or something, or we think something bad, we need to go talk to somebody. We need to address that. That's what we have, a team of a network of support people around us. And just like the injuries that I was experiencing on the 100, I was like, I've got a great team of experts. I just need to ask them. I need to have the courage to go talk to someone. And then I have to be, here's the hard part, is like, we're all like, oh, I'm a big, tough macho man. I don't need help from anybody. I don't need to ask anybody. But no, we all need help. I think we can learn a lot from women, because they are like typically more humble, and they're willing to go ask for help, and they get together and they help each other and stuff like that. So I think us men can learn a lot from women and their humility in seeking help from others.
Yeah, definitely. Just being honest and sharing this, like your emotions with others, I think this can be really helpful.
Yeah.
And speaking of injuries, I mean, everyone probably heard that failing is part of the journey. So was there some point where you thought, okay, I just failed, but this just made me grow?
Failure is an interesting word, because who truly defines failure for you, right? So like on day 59, I crashed my bike. I was in an accident and I broke my back. And someone could have looked at that accident as a failure. And I could have made a decision in that moment to stop, but I said, no, I've made a decision to keep doing this. I'm going to adjust some things, but we're going to continue on. And just like with my shins and the injuries that we were having, I could have stopped, and I don't know that it would have been a failure, because I was attending to my needs and my body. But I have a unique ability to manage that pain and to keep going. But see, I don't like the word failure. I think it's an opportunity to learn. And I think when you're, earlier you said, or ask a question, and my answer was it's in preparation. Like to be successful, you have to prepare for things and not like want them right now. And I think what people do is they set a really big goal, and then they try to do it too fast. And for me, I try to fail a lot in training, in preparation. And that's where I want to make my mistakes. And so I don't look at that as failing. I look at that as learning. And because here's what's interesting. We don't all start out as an expert. I didn't start by breaking world records. I started by learning how to bike and trying not to drown. Right. And so that's where all of the journeys have to begin. And we need to shift the way we think. And it's not about failing, it's about learning. And I try to learn as much as I can in preparation for the big challenge. And then when the big challenge comes, or the big goal is here, I do everything I can to take those learnings and apply them so that I win every time.
Yeah, I totally agree with this way of thinking. I guess otherwise there wouldn't be a point in learning. It wouldn't be a journey of growth if we wouldn't make mistakes and then just learn out of them, right? So what is your biggest lesson so far?
Oh man, great question, because there's so many lessons.
Or you tell all of them.
Yeah, that would take 10 hours. I think my greatest lesson is and it's totally cliche because everybody says it, but it's about the journey. And I know everyone or most people on this call are fairly young, and they're just like rushing to like the goals and the milestones and the finish line and the records and the accomplishments and all those things. And to be honest with you, I've accomplished a lot in my life. And a lot of those awards and records and stuff, they don't really matter that much. But what matters is the people that I've met along the way and the relationships that I've formed. And looking back on my journey, I wish I would have slowed down just a little bit and had more meaningful conversations with people and taken in some of those really cool moments that I was like trying to rush through to get to a finish line. And so I challenge every single one of you to um, just know that you're eventually going to get to your goal, and you don't need to rush and be there today. It's okay, because it's about these conversations. It's about this network. It's about these friends. It's about those moments. And that's what I've learned along the way is it's okay to slow down. It's not, it's okay to cherish relationships. It's okay to have more meaningful conversations and deeper friendships. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you were like big on the habit building part of it, right? So the last time we talked, you said that you were a big fan of the book Atomic Habits of
Mhm.
from James Clear, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you about that. Which are like your most important habits you build up over the years to become so successful in what you do?
Yeah, I think one of the most best habits someone can have is setting up a routine for consistency. And I love in Atomic Habits, he talks about habit stacking. And what that is and making habits convenient for you, right? Because in order to be successful in life, there's certain things that we do that aren't fun, or we don't want to do them. And you want to do those things early in the day, get them out of the way, because as we go through the day, we lose energy, we lose motivation, and things, more fun things come up that we want to do instead of these things. But the secret to life is having a good routine set up. My wife is fantastic at it. Every single day, she wakes up and she does the same 10 things to start her day. And then she gets going. And then whatever happens the rest of the day, it's okay because she's done those core things. And if like a party comes up, she's like, I can go to the party. I've already done my things. And so it's super important to like start small and gain momentum, right? Life is about momentum and getting those small wins, because success breeds success, confidence breeds confidence. And it's also how we associate with ourselves. I love this story in the book, and he talks about this gentleman who was starting his weight loss journey. And he was like, okay, gets up off the couch, moves the Doritos aside, and he's like, I'm going to start going to the gym. And he's like, I'm going to go 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. And he does it on Monday, and he does it on Tuesday, and Wednesday something came up and he didn't get to go. And so he's like, I failed. And then he doesn't go Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Right. So he was like, I failed. I didn't accomplish my goal. I fell short. And now he associates himself with a failure. And so he gets back on his couch. He starts to snuggle with his bag of Doritos again. And it's a bad situation. Now, what he did after that was he changed the way he executed his goal. And he said, okay, I'm still going to go every single day, but I'm only going to go for 5 minutes. And you think to yourself, what's 5 minutes of the gym going to do? But I'll tell you what it does, and it's the power of the mind. So he goes to the gym, and he goes in and he walks in the front door, and he starts his watch, and he does like a bench press set. And he's like, oh, 5 minutes is up. I got to go. And he leaves. And you're like, what a waste of time. He didn't accomplish anything. But he shows up the next day, and he goes in, he starts his watch, 5 minutes. And this time he does some lat pull downs. And then 5 minutes, he leaves. And he does it every single day. And he showed up for 2-3 weeks, 5 minutes at a time. And you're like, did he accomplish anything physically? No. But what did he accomplish? He now mentally associates himself with a gym goer. He's a gym goer. And now he believes that he's a gym goer. And so now, over the next couple of weeks, he goes 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Now he's starting to see results. Now he's consistent. Now he's created a habit. And so a lot of times with habits, we want to see results instantly. We're like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym. And you go to the gym today and you come home and you get on the scale and go, nothing's changed. And it's, yeah, nothing's changed because you haven't created a habit yet. And so that's one of the things I love about that book. One of the big lessons that I think is super important. It's about the small goals. Again, I said it before, but the secret to success is doing a lot of little things consistently over a long period of time. Y'all need to write that down, because that is one of the most important secrets to life and how you will win. I didn't do 100 Ironmans in one day. You can't. I had to keep showing up, and I didn't cover all 140 miles in 2 minutes. It took me just showing up and continuing to move and continuing to chip away at it until, holy cow, next thing I know, I'd done 100 Ironmans and I'd set endurance sports history.
Wow. Yeah, I love that story. It also inspired me a lot. So we have another question from the audience, from Marco. He says, listening to you is truly inspiring. What do you tell your own children? How do you make sure they stay on track, stay focused on their goals? Do they even want to listen to you? With a bunch of smileys.
Yeah, that's funny. Here's what's interesting. We don't have any rules in our house. I bet that surprises most people. And typically I don't tell them what to do. You know what I do? You know what my wife does? We set the example, and that example sets expectations. And then they watch us, because we truly have no idea who's watching, when they're watching, but everybody's watching at all times. Even when you think they aren't, they're watching. And my kids see what hard work, discipline, sacrifice has gotten us. We live an amazing life. I have a lot of really good luxuries in my life. And then there's other people that we can show our kids as an example and say, look, these choices that they have made have this natural consequence. And there's examples everywhere. Like, you can look at examples of, oh, that person's really successful. What did they do in their life? That person is not successful. They're broke. They're an alcoholic. Like, what did they do in their life? Like, we want and so it was easy to draw those parallels. And so for me, it's a great question. And you don't want to tell anybody how to do anything. You want to show them. It's exactly why I did 101. I didn't tell people to do one more. I did one more. And so every single person on this call, you need to be the leader. You need to believe that everybody's watching you, and you need to set the example. And I promise you, everybody will rise up to your level. And that's so much fun when everybody's executing at a high level and everybody's winning. Nobody wants to win by themselves. Everybody wants to be at the top of the mountain of success with all of their friends. Here's a secret, guys. The mountaintop of success, it's flat. It's not reserved for the elect few. Every single one of you can be on the mountaintop with me. Come on up here. It's amazing. It's an open invitation. I want to meet every single one of you. I want to high five all of you. Come up here with me. It's amazing.
Wow. I love your message. Seriously, I'm speechless at the moment. All right. Well, you mentioned examples and being the example as a leader. So I'm just wondering, who was your example? Who inspired you?
Yeah, first and foremost, Jesus. We'll just say that. But again, I'm a big fan of sports, and I loved watching anything I could, and I loved participating in anything I could. My mom is one of my heroes. My wife is one of my heroes. My kids are all my heroes because they're unbelievable, because they show up in their lives every single day. I've got a wall of champions behind me, and I'll just see if I can tilt this up a little bit without making my desk a disaster. Okay, so we've got Conor McGregor, we've got Wayne Gretzky, we've got LeBron James, we've got George St. Pierre, we got Tom Brady, we got Steph Curry, and my man Tiger Woods. And then right here behind me, who's that? That's me, baby. You got to put yourself on your own wall of champions. That's what I'm talking about. You got to believe in yourself. Nobody's going to believe in you until you believe in yourself. But all those guys, they changed the way the sports are played. They changed the way the money was in the game. They changed the way people watch the sport. That's what you got to do. You got to show up in your life and change the way the game is played. But those guys, again, I love sport. George St. Pierre is probably my favorite because he executes with discipline, honesty, integrity, hard work, doesn't make excuses. Those are all attributes that we all need for success. And and George St. Pierre exemplifies all of those things. And to me, he's a great man.
Yes. So from Tim Hansen, there is one. What is your morning routine? Do you meditate?
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's super important. We all need to have mindfulness moments. And so every single day I wake up and I have it's like a vibration plate machine that kind of, I get on it and it shakes and goes through a routine. It takes about 10 minutes. And while I'm on there, I do some deep breathing and I just try to open up my mind. And then typically I'll have breakfast. I'll read a little bit and then I'll go do my workout. And I love to go outside and ride my bike, and I'll go up into the mountains, and I won't take my phone or put any earphones in, and I just want to think. And it's amazing when you remove distractions and you get up into nature, how amazing the inspiration is that comes in, and the ideas that we get and the creativity that happens. And the reason that we're not being creative and the reason we're not getting all these ideas is because we're sitting on our phones and we're looking at social media and we're playing these games, and where's the next shiny light and what are we doing? And I need to be entertain me, right? And if everybody's entertaining you, you're never taking an opportunity to think and be creative and dream. For some reason, we've stopped dreaming. Why? Dreaming. I mean, I remember sitting as a kid because there weren't so many distractions, just dreaming. And I dreamed up an unbelievable life. And guess what I have now? An unbelievable life. Dreaming is one of the very first keys to success. But we've missed that step. We've missed that step of dreaming and creativity. That's a huge mistake. So unplug yourselves, go up in nature, walk with friends, dream. That's what it's about, dreaming, because dreams turn into reality if you take action.
Beautiful message. I
Yeah,
really
so
love
nice.
it. I mean, of course, you can't achieve a goal that you haven't even dreamt of. It's not possible. I totally agree with you. I'm wondering, do you think you're already the best version of yourself? Because like a lot of people are saying, like, be the best version of yourself. And I mean, you're super successful, but are there goals you still haven't achieved in your eyes?
Yeah, it's a great question. I believe that we're never just standing still. We're either moving forward or we're falling backwards. And I'm continually trying to catch the best version of myself. And my goal is one day when I get to meet him, I'm gonna be like, I got you. I got you. I'm so happy to meet you and I got you. And I'm not there, man. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I still got dreams, desires, passions. I got things I want to accomplish. I got relationships I want to do. I got tons of stuff. I mean, it's so fun with my kids right now, but I got lots to do with them. It's still my responsibility to get them ready to maybe be a moonshot pirate. I don't know, to do all these cool things. So yeah, no, there's a lot more that I got to do. But again, remember that we're never just standing still. And if you feel that you're just standing still, that means you're slipping backwards. Because if you're not progressing, it's at the back of the bus, and that's a bad place to be. So we want to continually show up. I ask this question all the time. When was the last time you were intentionally uncomfortable? Right? Think about that for a second. When was it? We live in an unbelievable time. A lot of opportunity, a lot of great people, a lot of things we can do, a lot of comfort, right? And so when was the last time you intentionally, on purpose, did something hard to grow, to chase down that badass version of you that's miles and miles ahead of you? When was the last time you faced your fears on purpose, broke them down to overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, if I had answered this question right now, just by the way, actually, I'm doing this right now. I'm really
Same.
nervous talking in front of
You
other
guys,
people.
you guys are both currently uncomfortable. And guess
Yeah,
what? Both of you are currently growing. Like, that's a great place
that's
to
true.
be. You guys are currently growing. And after this, you're going to have a little bit more knowledge. You're going to have a little bit more experience. You're going to have a little bit more confidence. I said it before, confidence builds confidence. You guys are creating small little wins and momentum in your life. You two are winning, man. I love it. Everybody on this call is winning. Only if you take this information and do something with it. That's the next level.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. One more thing. So you once talked about having this alter ego, this Iron Cowboy that like kind of deflects all these voices in your head that they're just gone. And if you gotta do something, you have to do something. Like you gotta do it. How did you come to build that? Like you said that with the habits, but I can't quite fathom the way that you don't have any voices like telling you to stop or anything.
No, that's where you're wrong.
Okay.
The voices are always there.
Okay.
You need to embrace that voice. I call him the bully inside of our head.
Okay.
That bully inside my head, he's my buddy. And he brings out the best version of me because he always tries to beat me down.
Yeah.
He tries to tell me I'm a loser. He tries to tell me I'm not good enough. And I'm like, who are you to tell me I'm not good enough? And I've become friends with him and we have conversations all the time. And I'm like, I'm going to show you I'm a bad man. Right. And that's what you got to do. But it's a trick. It's called putting on your uniform. Okay. So with me, I'm racing. Actually, hang on one second. I'm going to grab something. Hang on.
Oh, he's back. All right.
Okay. So sitting here in front of you, I'm James Lawrence, right? Not the Iron Cowboy. I'm just chilling. We're having a conversation. Now, I've got a secret weapon. Okay. My secret weapon is in the form of yellow. Okay. And when I put on my yellow sunglasses, I see you laughing. It's okay. When I put on my yellow sunglasses, I transform from James Lawrence to the Iron Cowboy. Okay. This is my uniform. And when this happens, it flips a switch. And so you need to figure out what your uniform is. And I got this one. I got this one. I got this one. I got this one.
More than 4.
And I got this one.
Oh, whoa.
Okay. So those are all my uniforms. That's my superpower. So you need to figure out what it is for you that allows you to flip that switch. Because James Lawrence is a father, a husband, a leader. But the Iron Cowboy, you don't want to mess with that dude, right? So you got to figure out what your alter ego is. When things get hard, when things get tough, you got to be like, not today. And you got to beat down that bully inside your head. And that only comes with practice. Again, when was the last time you did something intentionally hard, right? When was the last time you were intentionally uncomfortable, right? You have to become intentionally uncomfortable to give yourself an opportunity to find the baddest ass version of who you are. That's the only way, through experience. You need to create opportunities to put on your uniform, right? And it doesn't have to be a pair of yellow glasses, right? That's just me. Every time I've broken a world record, I'm wearing a pair of those glasses. And so now when I put those on, it's like my Superman cape, right? It's like my Spider-Man costume. I put it on, I'm a freaking superhero. Right? Bam, switch.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out how to transform yourself into a superhero any given moment. But here's the thing, right? We've talked about doing a lot of little things consistently over a long period of time, doing hard things. Okay, so if a big moment comes up, big moment, right? Like it's like, oh, this is Mount Everest, right? I'm at the bottom of Mount Everest. I got to get to the top. There's somebody it's on fire, and somebody's at the top, and I got to save them. That's not the moment to develop mental toughness. You can't just go, hey, where are my glasses? I don't know where my glasses are. I haven't put them on in a long time. You got to be putting them on all the time. You got to be getting ready for that moment. When the moment hits, it's not the time to get ready. When the moment hits, you're like, I'm ready. I'm ready, son. Let me find my badass ones. It's got to be like, I'm ready. Let's go. Here we go, man. Bam. I'm Tron. I'm the baddest on the planet, right? That's what you got to do. You got to be ready for that moment. So there you go.
I love that. That's like a constant trash talk on the basketball court with yourself. I see it that way. That's amazing. That's amazing.
So these are the actual ones I broke the 50 world record on,
Okay.
and these are the actual ones that I broke the 100 on. So
Whoa.
these two right here are part of history. Those
Whoa.
two mean a lot to me. The other ones are going to be for my other world records.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm just wondering, like, was it just a coincidence that you were wearing yellow glasses when you first broke a record, or did you actually plan to wear those?
No, so it was interesting, about halfway through, so it was on the journey of the 50, and it was on day 30 of the 50, and I was still learning. I was still growing. I was in way over my head, right? But I continued to show up, and I'm like, I'm going to learn. I can do this. And I was completely broken. And I remember about halfway through the bike ride on day 30, it was in Connecticut here in the United States. And I still had 20 more to go, and I was like broken. And I remember like getting off my bike, and I found a small patch of grass. And I remember sitting there, and I just started to cry. And I was broken. And I was like, this isn't worth it. And that bully inside of my head, he was getting the best of me. Like, he was winning. He was beating me down. He was convincing me that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't enough, that I hadn't done the work, that I don't deserve to be here. And I thought to myself, you know what? I can be perfect for 1 second, right? I don't know how to do 20 more Ironmans, but I know I can be perfect for 1 second. I know I can turn the pedals over one time. And I just concentrated on being perfect for 1 second. And it was interesting. Where are those glasses? It was these ones right here. It was interesting. When I stood up, wiped away the tears, and I went like this. As soon as I did that, I went from feeling sorry for myself to becoming empowered. And those last 20 Ironmans, they were my fastest, because I shifted the way I thought about it. I changed the way I felt. I put on my uniform.
Whoa. And
from that moment on, and then there's a picture of me on the very last day crossing the finish line, breaking that world record, and I'm wearing those glasses. And then for all 100 days, I wore glasses just like this, but they weren't yellow. They were different colors. But on the last day, on the 100th day, I pulled out my superpower, and we set history on that day because of these, because of what they meant to me, because of what I believed they meant to me, because it silenced the bully in my head. Life's about belief and conviction. It's not about feeling sorry for yourself. It's not about the excuses that we make. It's about showing up, believing in yourself, putting an unbelievable team around you, and kicking ass every single day.
That just gave me goosebumps. I gotta be honest. Yeah, so we have another question from the audience. I mean, from Nevena, you kind of just answered it, but how do you make your inner bully your buddy?
Yeah, through experience. We've talked about that, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just about becoming comfortable with them, right? So when you first meet somebody, a little bit awkward. We don't know each other. I don't know what to say. What do you like? What do you don't like, right? And so I want to meet this bully as much as I can. I want to get to know him. I want to know what his weaknesses are. I want to know how to talk to him. I want to make him my friend, right? How do you make friends? You got to talk to him. You got to get to know him. You got to know what their likes are, what their dislikes are, right? And so, great question. You just have to keep showing up and create opportunities to meet him or her. And then you got to get to know them. How do they talk? What's that? What makes them upset? How do I silence them? How, right? So you got to become friends with this dude, right? And when you can do that, you continue to win. It goes all the way back to the beginning. You have to intentionally put yourself in difficult situations. You have to figure out what your fears are, break them down until you get to the moment where, like, okay, I can do that. I can overcome that small part of this fear. And then you overcome that and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. I learned, I grew. That was hard. Maybe I failed. Maybe I took a misstep. And then you continue to break down that fear. And all of a sudden, oh, I'm not scared of that anymore. It's easy. And then that bully's like, oh, dang it. He's learned how to show up. He's learned how to do hard things, right? And then he starts to get quieter and quieter, and he doesn't want to show up anymore because he doesn't like to lose either. And so you just have to get comfortable and familiar with him or her, and just get to know him, do hard things.
Incredible. I love how you kind of visualize this bully in your head. You call him or her friend, and for me, I could like feel and see this bully right now. I love this approach.
Yeah, I give him hugs all the time now.
Oh,
I, got,
perfect.
I told you I could do it. Suck it.
Well, also, when you were talking about the situation where you kind of wiped off your tears and kept going, and you were perfect for a second, this is what you just said. First of all, I love this quote. Yeah, I had a question about your big choices or decisions, but this kind of showed me that it's all about the small decisions, like those small moments. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. It's about big goals, big dreams, small actions, big results, right? And so it's about those little tiny steps, those little milestones. Because if I look back on my career, I always had big goals. They were always the biggest I could think of at the time. But there was always small steps to get to those goals. And again, I'll say it again. I think I've said it twice already. The secret to success is doing a lot of little things consistently over a long period of time. In fact, I said write it down. And that's what I really want you guys to take from this. I want you to dream. I want you to set big goals, and then I want you to forget about the goal, right? Like I'd set the goal to do 100. Once I said it, and once I committed to it, and once I came up with a game plan and put the team around me, guess what I did? I put that 100, and I put it up on the shelf, and I'm like, I know what it is. It's there. I respect it, but I'm not going to focus on it anymore. What's the one thing I need to do right now to get closer to that goal? Right? Because everybody wakes up and we've got like 500 things to do and this big long list. And it's like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm now depressed and I'm not going to do any of it. And then you like crawl up into a ball, you find a corner on the couch, you turn on Netflix, and before you know it, 12 hours has gone by and you didn't do one thing on your list. And so take that goal, forget about it, reverse engineer it to the one thing, the most important thing that's going to move the needle to get you closer to that goal. I promise you, you can be perfect for 1 second. You can focus on one thing, but we're so distracted with how big our list is, how overwhelming it is, all the things we have to do, all the people we need to impress, all the what. Forget all of it. Focus on one thing. Just do one thing. If you did one thing every day in 10 years, you're going to be where you want to be. It's that easy. It's literally that easy.
Yeah.
Get out of your own way.
Actually, Nevena has another question which fits this. How do you figure out what is important and worth focusing doing when there are countless opportunities?
Man, that's a good question. You guys are smart. It's interesting because I've had to learn to say no. And that's also a hard thing to do, right? Because, when you start to gain momentum, opportunities are going to come your way. You're going to attract a lot of things. And all of a sudden I started gaining momentum and 10 doors opened up. And when I first started, I was like, oh, I got to open all of these doors. And I'm like, if I don't do that right now, they're going to disappear. What I've learned is there's always opportunity in life. Opportunity is abundant because if you're attracting abundance, opportunity is there. And so I've learned that I can't do 10 things at a time really, really well. And so I was like, okay, what is the most attractive door for me? What door is going to create the most opportunity and open more doors down the road? And then you make that decision. So you got to, life is about lists and contemplating, getting outside and thinking and dreaming about the doors that have opened, right? And then choose the door wisely and then give that door all of your attention. And then all of a sudden you'll see success and create momentum and a different door will open. It's interesting. People are like, man, I don't know how I'm going to do this task. I don't know how I'm going to achieve this goal. I don't know this person. I don't have that connection. Well, dude, my entire life, I haven't known 90% of how I was going to do it. I just knew if I showed up and I did the work, those people and those opportunities and those doors will present themselves to me. If I believe it's coming, you can't just believe, right? That's the first step. You have to believe it and then take action and do. And as you continue to believe, take action, those people, those key players in your life are going to show up. And because you've elevated your game, because you're executing at a high level, because you're not waiting for someone to come and be on you, they're going to show up. They will come to, because you're setting the example, you're carving the path. Your team will surround themselves with you because they want to be part of what you're doing. I have never recruited anybody to be on my team. I've set the example. I have laid out the positions on my team, and then people fill them because they want to be part of what we're doing. right? If you're excellent, excellence will surround you. Work on you first, you'll attract everything else.
That's powerful. So what Marco is asking, what do you tell to those who say you're great, but that's easy for you? You're special. I could never do that. I can't. It's impossible. How do you make people believe in themselves?
Yeah. Great question. Great insight. You guys are super smart. Um, here's what's interesting is I have a picture of me in the pool in my very first swim, gripping to the side of the edge, gasping for air, trying not to drown. I'm wearing a nose plug, right? Like I was trying to figure it out. You don't start out the expert. And, people see headlines. They see 50, 50, 50 world record. Then they see 100 consecutive mind blowing world record, one of 7 billion people in the world. Here's the coolest part. I'm just like you. You're just like me. I've made decisions over 15 years that has put me in a position to do it. And if you don't believe me, I went and had all of the genetic tests done because enough people said to me, you're different. I can't do what you do. And I'm like, no, man, I'm just average. Like I'm a 5'8" white Canadian. Like that. I'm just I'm totally average across the board. And I went and took all these tests. There wasn't one thing in there genetically that separated me from anybody else. I don't have a single genetic advantage, not in my mind, not in my body, nothing. There's nothing that separates me. So when I say you're just like me and I'm just like you, I mean it. It's true. The only difference is I've continued to show up over a long period of time. I have created what I want to be. You're not excellent overnight. You're not the best overnight. The only way to guarantee your failure is to stop showing up. I promise you, you stop showing up, you will prove yourself right that you're not good enough. But if you keep showing up, you're going to prove yourself right that you are good enough. And you will achieve everything you want in your life. Remember this, the only way to fail is to stop showing up. It's guaranteed. Guaranteed. You will keep chipping away at life and you will win, but you have to keep showing up. You have to keep believing in yourself. You have to keep rising to the level. You have to keep putting yourself in difficult situations. You have to work on your mind. You have to work on your body. You have to work on your spirituality. You got to do all of those things. It seems hard, but again, just break it down to one thing. Do one thing a day that adds to your progression, that adds to your legacy. That's it.
Yeah, it kind of rounds up all your values that you shared in this talk so far, that everyone can be successful, everyone can achieve anything. You just need to take kind of small steps and have your big dreams. And talking about dreams, how exactly do you dream and reflect? Like, I remember another question earlier. They asked you whether you meditate. For example, I'm running and going for runs, and this helps me reflect, or just sitting in my room and thinking about my life. So what do you do?
Yeah, same thing as I just sit in silence. I think that's hard for a lot of people to do. And it's because we're not comfortable with the conversation that we're having with ourselves, because we haven't forgiven ourselves for the past mistakes we've made. If I can give anybody a gift, it's to forgive yourself for the mistakes you've made in the past. Understand that you're not perfect and it's okay. Every single day you get to wake up with a clean sheet of paper. You get to create your history. And that comes from dreaming. It comes from clearing out your mind. It comes from meditation. It comes from thinking. It comes from escaping. You need to remove those distractions. For me, it's getting out on my bike and riding up in the mountains. For me, it's sitting in silence and just thinking, allowing those thoughts to come in. And I get it, it's hard. You don't have to sit down and do a 15-minute meditation session. 60 seconds, 30 seconds, right? Just start there. Just start there and slowly grow your practice to where you can sit in mindfulness thought. It's the most important thing that we can do, is to be comfortable with the conversations that we're having with ourselves, right? That's how you manage life. That's how you be okay with who you are and where you're going and what you're going to do. That's how you attract other great people in your life.
Exactly. We just kind of need to start. I think this is the most important part, to just start.
Yeah.
James, if there's anything you'd like to share, like your last words, you can just go ahead.
Yeah, I've just really appreciated the opportunity to come out and share some wisdom. I know a lot of you guys are looking at me like the old dude in the room, but I'm young at heart, and I've done a lot of things. And when I was growing up, I used to hear all the time, respect your elders. And I wish I would have listened more as a young man to the people that have life experience, because as we've covered already, life is about experiences. And if you haven't had them, you need to tap into people that have had them and maybe listen to them, because maybe they've done some things in their lives where they've experienced change, they've experienced growth. And as you continue to show up in your life, you get to have experiences. You get to gain knowledge. The biggest thing I want to leave you guys with is you guys don't have to do anything. You get to, right? You get to show up every single day. I'll share a very quick story and we'll end here. I was in the world record, and when we were doing 30 Ironmans in a year, I had an opportunity to pull a boy who has cerebral palsy. He couldn't run. He couldn't ride a bike. He couldn't swim, but his mind was sharp and he wanted adventure. He just couldn't. So I had to help him. So in life, you need to help other people achieve their dreams, and you'll achieve their dreams. And you have to have the knowledge that you don't have to. You get to. You get to wake up every single day and take in a deep breath. You get to wake up every single day and go hug somebody. You get to wake up every single day and go do service for somebody. You get to wake up every single day and make a difference in this world. That's a choice that you get to make every single day. You get to choose how you react to the words that people say to you. You get to choose how you react to the things that people do to you. If you're winning in life, it's your fault. If you're losing in life, it's your fault. But just remember, you get to wake up every single day and you get to be part of this journey. You get to be part of the human race. You get to have experiences. You get to love. You get to be you. And that's enough.
Yeah. And we get to be on this call. This is so
Yeah.
amazing. And I'm actually so sad that we have to wrap it up. But like, thank you to everybody who listened, who was active in the chat, who asked all these questions. And thank you to you, James, for giving us some time of your busy day. And thank you to the whole Moonshot Pirates crew for organizing it, and Erika for being such an amazing co-host. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Victor. Thanks, Erika. Totally appreciate your time. You guys are going to go on to be amazing people. So is everybody else on this call. So thank you.
Thank you, James. It was so inspiring. Thank you
I'll
so
have a
much.
great morning and you guys have a great night.
Yes, perfect.